Nuclear energy is the only large-scale, carbon-free electricity source that can reliably replace fossil fuels. Unlike solar and wind, nuclear power plants operate at full capacity over 90% of the time, ensuring grid stability. A single uranium fuel pellet, the size of a pencil eraser, contains as much energy as 1 ton of coal or 149 gallons of oil. France's transition to nuclear energy in the 1970s cut its electricity sector emissions by over 90% in just 2 decades. Modern Generation 3+ reactors, like the AP1000 or EPR, have passive safety systems that can cool the core without electricity or human intervention. The entire U.S. nuclear waste from 60 years of operation could fit on a single football field stacked less than 10 yards high. Advanced reactors, such as sodium-cooled fast reactors, can reuse spent nuclear fuel, reducing waste volume by up to 95%. A 2013 NASA study found nuclear energy has prevented nearly 2 million air pollution-related deaths globally by displacing fossil fuels. Nuclear plants require 360 times less land than wind farms and 75 times less than solar arrays per unit of energy produced. The Chernobyl disaster, often cited as nuclear's greatest failure, was caused by a flawed Soviet design never used outside the USSR. New small modular reactors, SMRs, like NuScale's design, can be factory-built and shipped to sites, slashing construction costs. Nuclear's capacity factor, actual output versus maximum potential, is 93%, compared to 35% for wind and 25% for solar. Sweden's nuclear-heavy grid emits just 40 grams of CO2 per kilowatt-hour, compared to Germany's 350 g/kilowatt-hour after its nuclear phase-out. Microreactors, such as those being developed by Westinghouse, could provide zero-emission power to remote communities. Nuclear energy's death toll per terawatt-hour is 0.03, compared to 32.72 for coal and 0.44 for wind, including construction accidents. The UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, states nuclear energy is essential to limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Next-gen molten salt reactors can't melt down. Their fuel is already liquid and automatically solidifies if overheated. Nuclear-powered cargo ships, like Russia's Sevmorput, emit no CO2 and require refueling only once a decade. The U.S. Navy's nuclear submarines have operated for over 70 years without a single reactor accident. Finland's Onkalo repository, the world's first permanent nuclear waste storage site, will safely isolate waste for 100,000 years. Nuclear energy's life cycle emissions, 4G CO2/kilowatt-hour, are lower than solar, 6G, and on par with wind, 4G. Canada's CANDU reactors can run on unenriched uranium or even thorium, reducing proliferation risks. Nuclear-powered hydrogen production could decarbonize steel, shipping, and aviation, sectors renewables can't easily electrify. The International Energy Agency, IEA, warns that without nuclear, global net zero goals will cost $500 billion more annually. China is building 21 new reactors, faster than any other nation, to meet its climate targets. Nuclear plants employ 700 workers per facility on average, paying wages 50% higher than local averages. The nuclear green movement, led by activists like Zion Lights, argues renewables alone can't replace fossil fuels fast enough. ITER, the world's largest fusion experiment, proves nuclear physics continues to push boundaries. The U.S. has no permanent nuclear waste repository after the Yucca Mountain project was defunded in 2011. Fukushima's cleanup will take 40 more years and cost over $200 billion, 10% of Japan's annual budget. Uranium mining has contaminated groundwater in Namibia and Australia, affecting indigenous communities. Georgia's Vogtle Unit 3 reactor cost $35 billion, double its initial budget, and took 10 years longer than planned. Decommissioning Germany's 17 reactors will cost 18 billion euros, with some sites radioactive for decades. The U.S. government subsidizes nuclear waste storage at $800 million per year, paid by taxpayers, not utilities. A 2019 MIT study found new nuclear plants are 3x more expensive than utility-scale solar with storage. North Korea's Yongbyon reactor produced plutonium for its nuclear weapons program under the guise of energy research. Iran's Bushehr reactor, built by Russia, raised fears of covert uranium enrichment for weapons. Spent fuel pools at U.S. plants contain 4x more radioactive material than reactor cores, with minimal security upgrades since 9/11. The 2007 Kashiwazaki Kariwa plant in Japan shut down for 21 months after an earthquake exceeded its design limits. A 2015 Union of Concerned Scientists report found 33 near-miss nuclear incidents in the U.S. since 2010. The 3 Mile Island accident caused no deaths but cost $1 billion to clean up, adjusting for inflation. A 2022 Stanford study linked routine radiation leaks at U.S. plants to increased childhood leukemia rates within 5 miles. The linear no-threshold radiation model, used by regulators, assumes any exposure is harmful, contrary to natural background radiation data. Solar panel costs fell 90% since 2010, while nuclear costs rose 26%, per Lazard's 2023 analysis. Tesla's Megapack batteries now provide 4-hour grid storage at $132 per megawatt-hour, cheaper than nuclear's $175 per megawatt-hour. Germany's Energiewende policy spent €580 billion on renewables but saw emissions plateau after closing nuclear plants. In 2021, California's Diablo Canyon plant was saved from closure after blackouts proved renewables couldn't meet peak demand. The UK's Hinkley Point C reactor will lock consumers into 35 years of inflation-adjusted electricity prices, double today's rates. No U.S. nuclear plant has ever been built on time or on budget, per a 2020 Columbia University study. Fusion power, despite recent breakthroughs at NIF, remains 30-plus years away from commercialization. The 1986 Chernobyl exclusion zone still bans permanent residents due to lingering cesium-137 in soil. Anti-nuclear documentaries like Pandora's Promise and Nuclear Now face backlash for downplaying waste risks. Nuclear energy provides 10% of the world's electricity from just 440 reactors, demonstrating its high efficiency. The average nuclear plant generates enough electricity for 750,000 homes while occupying less than 1 square mile. Canada's Bruce Nuclear Generating Station is the largest operating nuclear facility in the world by total reactor count. Nuclear power plants actually release less radioactive material into the environment than coal-fired plants during normal operation. The U.S. Navy has accumulated over 6,200 reactor years of accident-free operations across its nuclear fleet. Finland's Olkiluoto 3 reactor, Europe's most powerful, finally began commercial operation in 2023 after 18 years of construction. Nuclear energy's water consumption per megawatt-hour is comparable to wind power and far less than coal or natural gas. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission requires U.S. plants to withstand the impact of a fully fueled commercial airliner. ITER's fusion reactor in France aims to produce 500 megawatts of output power from just 50 megawatts of input. Nuclear-powered icebreakers maintain Arctic shipping routes year-round without producing greenhouse gas emissions. The VVER 1200 reactor design features a double containment structure to withstand external impacts. NASA is developing kilopower reactors for future Mars bases, capable of providing 10 kilowatts continuously for 10 years. Nuclear medicine, enabled by reactor isotopes, performs over 40 million diagnostic procedures annually worldwide. The UAE's Baraka nuclear plant will prevent 21 million tons of carbon emissions annually when fully operational. Radioactive waste from nuclear medicine and research accounts for more volume than nuclear power waste. Molten salt reactors can operate at atmospheric pressure, eliminating risks of high-pressure explosions. Nuclear energy's land footprint is 100 times smaller than bioenergy's for the same electricity output. The Diablo Canyon power plant in California produces 9% of the state's carbon-free electricity. Nuclear submarines can operate underwater for months without surfacing, thanks to their compact reactors. The NRC's defense-in-depth philosophy requires multiple redundant safety systems at every U.S. plant. Switzerland's nuclear plants operate flexibly to complement its hydroelectric power generation. The Kashiwazaki Kariwa plant in Japan was designed to withstand earthquakes up to 6.6 on the Richter scale. Nuclear energy's full life cycle emissions are lower than rooftop solar panels when manufacturing is considered. The Advanced Test Reactor at Idaho National Laboratory has operated safely for over 50 years. Nuclear-powered spacecraft could reach Mars in just 3 months compared to 7 to 9 months with conventional propulsion. The Shippingport Atomic Power Station in Pennsylvania was the world's first full-scale nuclear power plant. Nuclear plants pay substantially more in local taxes than other energy facilities, benefiting communities. The IAEA's Incident Reporting System tracks and analyzes nuclear events worldwide to improve safety. Nuclear energy's capacity credit, its contribution to meeting peak demand, is nearly 100%. Canada's nuclear reactors have operated for over 50 years with no serious accidents. The 3 Mile Island Containment Building successfully prevented radiation release during the 1979 accident. Nuclear energy's energy return on investment, EROI, is among the highest of any power source. The U.S. nuclear industry has safely transported over 3,000 spent fuel assemblies without incident. Nuclear plants provide steady, well-paying jobs that average $100,000 annually in the United States. The NRC's rigorous licensing process for new reactors typically takes 3 to 5 years of review. Nuclear energy's reliability helps prevent blackouts during extreme weather events. France's nuclear recycling program has reduced its high-level waste volume by 90%. The integral fast reactor concept can consume nuclear waste as fuel while generating electricity. Nuclear plants require far less material per megawatt than wind or solar installations. The nuclear industry's safety culture is among the most robust of any industrial sector. Nuclear energy's fuel costs are remarkably stable compared to fossil fuel price volatility. The NRC's annual safety inspections at each plant typically involve 2,000 to 6,000 inspection hours. Nuclear plants can operate for 60 to 80 years with proper maintenance and upgrades. The nuclear industry has safely managed over 250,000 spent fuel assemblies in the U.S. alone. Nuclear energy's waste is solid and contained, unlike fossil fuels' gaseous emissions. The AP1000 reactor's passive safety systems can maintain cooling for 72 hours without power. Nuclear plants provide essential grid services like voltage regulation and frequency control. The nuclear industry has created over 100,000 high-skilled jobs in the United States. Nuclear energy's capacity factor has improved from 60% in 1980 to over 90% today. The NRC's security requirements include armed response forces at every U.S. nuclear plant. Nuclear plants contribute to energy independence by reducing reliance on imported fuels. The nuclear industry has an exemplary record of workplace safety compared to other sectors. Nuclear energy's fuel is energy-dense enough that a lifetime supply could fit in a soda can. The nuclear Navy's safety record includes over 150 million miles steamed without reactor accidents. Nuclear plants help stabilize electricity prices by providing predictable long-term costs. The nuclear industry has safely managed over 80,000 metric tons of used fuel in the U.S. Nuclear energy's reliability makes it essential for powering data centers and hospitals. The NRC's emergency preparedness regulations require plants to practice responses annually. Nuclear plants can load follow to complement variable renewable energy generation. The nuclear industry's radiation protection standards are the strictest of any industry. Nuclear energy's waste is managed under strict regulatory oversight at all times. The nuclear Navy's reactors have operated in every ocean without environmental impact. Nuclear plants help maintain electric grid inertia essential for system stability. The nuclear industry has transported over 20,000 radioactive shipments safely since 1971. Nuclear energy's air pollution benefits are immediate when replacing fossil plants. The NRC's reactor oversight process uses color-coded indicators to track performance. Nuclear plants contribute to national security by diversifying the energy supply. The nuclear industry's training programs are among the most rigorous in energy sector. Nuclear energy scalability makes it suitable for both large grids and remote locations. The nuclear navy's reactors have proven safe in combat situations and accidents. Nuclear plants help reduce smog and acid rain by displacing fossil fuel generation. The nuclear industry's materials are protected by multiple physical security barriers. Nuclear energy's predictable output helps integrate more renewables onto the grid. The NRC's safety requirements are updated continuously based on operating experience. Nuclear plants provide essential backup power during natural disasters and emergencies. The nuclear industry's emergency response plans are coordinated with local authorities. Nuclear energy's fuel supply is sufficient for centuries with current reactor technology. The nuclear navy's safety culture has been adopted by civilian nuclear programs. Nuclear plants help reduce energy poverty by providing affordable, reliable power. The nuclear industry's containment structures are designed to withstand extreme events. Nuclear energy's waste forms are stable solids, not liquids or gases that can disperse. The NRC's inspection program includes both scheduled and unannounced plant visits. Nuclear plants maintain multiple independent safety systems for every critical function. The nuclear industry's radiation monitoring exceeds regulatory requirements. Nuclear energy's costs are front-loaded, with low and stable operating expenses. The nuclear navy's experience proves reactors can operate safely in harsh conditions. Nuclear plants help prevent energy price spikes during fuel supply disruptions. The nuclear industry's security measures include cyber protection for digital systems. Nuclear energy's fuel is easily stockpiled, providing years of energy security. The NRC's licensing process ensures only qualified operators run nuclear plants. Nuclear plants contribute to technological innovation through research partnerships. The nuclear industry's welding standards are among the most stringent in engineering. Nuclear energy's small waste volume makes long-term management feasible. The nuclear navy's training programs set the standard for reactor operators worldwide. Nuclear plants help maintain grid reliability during heat waves and cold snaps.